Hello, friends and strangers. My name is Allie K. Campbell. The K stands for Kool-Aid, as in, oh yeah! This is my YouTube channel where I make videos about getting real, having fun, and living sober in no particular order. I'm a queer, neurodivergent person, so those themes tend to crop up a lot as well. Kind of like today. In this video, I'm gonna share with y'all my top favorite ADHD TikTok accounts / creators. Plus, I'm gonna react to some of my favorite videos by said creators. Who doesn't love a reaction video? Plus, they're really fun to make. All right, let's go. First up, the Psych Doctor MD. And y'all, I suppose that you expect me to maintain a level of like minimum creepiness on this channel, but listen, it's not healthy to have expectations of people, especially me. So I'm sorry, but I need to say this. Oh my God, this woman is so insanely beautiful. Okay, moving right along. Also known as the ADHD doctor, yes, I said doctor, Dr. Sasha Hamdani is a board-certified psychiatrist who, surprise, knows a lot about ADHD. How does she know so much, you ask? It must be the years of training that she's had in her field. Well, yeah, I'm sure that it definitely has to do with that, but also, Doc has ADHD herself. That alone very easily puts her on the list of my top favorite ADHD creators. Not only can we trust that the medical information she's sharing is like sound, accurate, comes with the added benefit that might even be like more important at this point in life of her lived experience as somebody with ADHD. Here's the top 3 reasons why Dr. Hamdani is on my list. And why, if you're someone with ADHD or someone who thinks they might have ADHD, or if you're somebody who loves somebody with ADHD, you should follow the ADHD doctor. Number 1, she calls out bullshit regularly. Stay tuned for an example. Number 2, she's proof that ADHD people can professionally succeed, even in super competitive, super stressful fields that require a ton of schooling. Number 3, she is a proponent for the safe use of medication in the treatment of ADHD and is fighting the stigma associated with the use of medication, especially stimulants, for the treatment of ADHD. Okay, so remember I said like stay tuned for an example of Dr. Hamdani calling out bullshit about ADHD on TikTok? Yeah, that was like 5 seconds ago. Okay, so here it is.
You can sing astronaut in the ocean all the way through. You have ADHD.
No, that's not ADHD. That's noise. So if you can follow it all the way through, congratulations, you're good at it.
Oh man, that energy, I love it. It's the look of, are you serious right now? The on-screen text that says, why is this a thing? Just the fact that she's calling out this shit on the app because it happens often. The sheer volume of videos on TikTok that are like diagnosing ADHD with some weird ass criteria that seems to be pulled out of a neurotypical's ass is startling. So seeing someone who's highly educated and has lived experience come in and be like, what the are y'all talking about? This is inaccurate, is just incredible. It's incredible. Watch telling me to stand. Stand for what? Next up on the list of my top favorite ADHD accounts / creators is Katiosaurus. Believe it or not, they are not a dinosaur. I'm not at all shocked about the fact that Katiosaurus, or Katie, has garnered a following on TikTok of over 850,000 people, 26 million likes. It is with very good reason. Let me break it down. Katie comes off as charming, inclusive, and approachable. Not to mention honest and willing to share her own struggles with ADHD and put them out into the world. That's not easy to do. She has a knack for combining humor and education, and it's super engaging. And as y'all know, that's kind of my shtick. So I stan. Probably one of the main reasons Katie is among my top favorite ADHD creators on TikTok is because she touches on the intersectionality of ADHD. Shut the up. Shut up. Sorry. See what happens when I keep my watch or my phone? If do not disturb is a setting, without it on, the default setting of your phone is disturb. anyway. She touches on the intersectionality of ADHD and a bunch of other topics that aren't necessarily talked about very often at all. For instance, she regularly creates content around sex and ADHD and like romance and dating and relationships. Right now in my life, I'm like in a very deep rabbit hole of that particular intersectionality of topics. It's much appreciated. She also, which is great for our purposes on this channel, talks about things like addiction and ADHD. Stay tuned for Exhibit A, top 3 reasons why Katie has graced this list and why you should follow them. 1, they are unapologetically themselves. They just give off a vibe of authenticity that shines through in the videos. Number 2, they conduct research and they share that research that they did on their own spare time in bite-sized, easily understandable, actionable tips. Major one. Number 3, they're fun and they're funny, period. Exhibit A.
Subject: ADHD and addiction. Did you know that people with ADHD are about 3 times more likely to develop an addiction? Even more than that, 25% of people with ADHD will be treated for drug or alcohol addiction at some point in their life. Many people with ADHD struggle with impulse control, which means that if something feels good, you do it, even if that is drinking or drugs. Even more than that, a lot of people with ADHD struggle to fit in socially, and so they turn to drugs or alcohol as a means of coping and self-medicating. About 40% of people who are incarcerated for drug or alcohol-related crimes turned out to have undiagnosed ADHD. A lot of research has been done on this, and the consensus is really clear. Adolescents whose ADHD was diagnosed and treated early on are statistically far less likely to be addicts now. If you have ADHD, addiction can be a real problem. If you are struggling, there are links in my bio to help you learn more. And I just want you to know that help is available and that you are not alone.
Oh my God. All of that. Yes, Katie. If they were a dinosaur, they would be my favorite breed of dinosaur. Third up on my list of my top favorite ADHD creators and accounts is Dr. Kojo Sarfo. Allow me to be creepy once more. A gorgeous man, like hot. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. As you can see by his title, Dr. Kojo is a doctor. The second one on our list. Turns out people with ADHD can accomplish stuff. Who knew? Dr. Kojo knew, and Dr. Hamdani knew. Okay, one more creepy thing, real quick. I'm shipping them right now. Imagine if they joined together, joined forces, and I don't know, had a beautiful wedding in the south of France and decided eventually that they wanted a third partner and it was me. Or maybe they didn't decide that, but they wanted to rescue a dog. I can bark. Sorry, now I'm done. Here's why Dr. Kojo is among my top favorites and why you should definitely follow. Number 1, there is not enough BIPOC representation in the ADHD community at large. Dr. Kojo is changing that with his existence alone. So important, so needed. Number 2, he dances while being informative. It's super cute. Stay tuned for an example. Number 3, a lot of Dr. Kojo's content focuses on what undiagnosed ADHD could look like. Just super helpful for people who have just like been wondering for years or even their whole life what's wrong with them or why they're so different. It's important work. Here we go. So cute. I also think that he himself has ADHD as well. So again, like dope. Just like imagine going to the doctor and that's what greets you. I'd be like, I'm happy to be here. Okay, before I get to our next and final ADHD creator on the list, I would like to invite you to perhaps hit the subscribe button, or if you've already subscribed, thank you. Maybe throw me a thumbs up. Whether or not you're subscribed, throw me a thumbs up to try and tell YouTube that, hey, Allie's doing good. You should pay her. You should pay her. All right, cool, thanks. Moving right along. Finally, here is one of my other top favorite ADHD creators and accounts on TikTok right now, Connor DeWolf? I don't know if that's his last name or he just like identifies as a wolf. 2021, you never know. Connor has 2.6 million followers, and that makes sense considering his content is consistent, entertaining, and highly relatable. He's well known on ADHD Talk and has some prime real estate under the ADHD hashtag in the app, which says a lot. Here's a few reasons why I like Connor and probably why other people do too. Number 1, he's creative, and that shows in his videos. You can tell by the way that he creates his content that that it's very much his. He has a very particular style. That's not easy to do on an app that is mostly run on doing trends that somebody else already created. Number 2, he's really good at breaking down the stigma associated with ADHD, even if it's sometimes at the expense of neurotypical people. Wait and see the video for an example of that. Number 3, Connor offers actionable tips based on his lived experience. Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, offering helpful information, which everyone on this list has had, is one of the major defining things for like how you enter this coveted list in the first place. You gotta be trying to help the cause, man, you know? All right, let's watch Connor.
Mama, Billy called me dumb because I have ADHD. Timothy, that's just not true. People with ADHD are biologically more intelligent than the average human. You're just being nice, Mama. Timothy, what happens when a person loses their eyesight? Their other senses compensate. That's right. So in layman's term, if the doing things part of the brain is lacking, that means the other parts of the brain have to compensate. How does that make me smarter, Mama? Well, because this parts of your brain, like your occipital lobe and your hippocampus, are overactive and physically larger. Because of this, your brain learns things faster, absorbs and processes sensory information like a sponge, and your long-term memory is exceptional. And because of the shortage of dopamine in your thalamus, your brain cancels out information that it deems worthless and takes a more creative route of finding solutions. And research shows that some of the top geniuses in the world have this same shortage of dopamine, and they also happen to have ADHD. Wow, that makes me feel better, Mama. Thank you. Anytime, Jimothy.
Jimothy realizes that we're superior. And thanks to Connor, so do I. Okay, guys, that's all I have for this video. Keep in mind that I have way more people on this list. There's a ton of great ADHD accounts and creators on TikTok. Obviously, I have to keep this condensed. If you like this video, comment below and let me know. Maybe I'll make a part 2. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been neurodivergent, it's been a little creepy. I admit it. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.